Well, we're back right here in the studio, and we have with us right now أ.بسمة السعد, and she is a rapid transformational therapist and a transformational breathe facilitator. Welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. So tell us now, in your opinion, what is self-discovery?
Okay, so the self-discovery is a process of understanding yourself and finding insight into like your behavior, or let's say your strengths and weaknesses, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And I think it's very, very important for someone to discover who they are.
So how can they go about doing that? Because part of the problem is some people do not know this, correct?
Yeah.
And they want to discover this. So how can they, you know, how important is it to know who you truly are and how to go about that process?
Okay, so it's very important. It's one of the first and basic steps when you want to, like, let's say, improve your quality of life or create positive change in your life. You would start with self-discovery. So basically what happens is in order for you to have meaning or feel fulfilled in your life, you would want to discover yourself and your, let's say, essence that you're born with.
So what are the benefits of, finding, let's say, self-discovery, please, أ.بسمة?
Okay, so before we get into this, I'd like to talk a little bit about why people, let's say, would want to discover themselves.
Tell
us. A lot of people have that perceived, let's say, false perception of who they are. They think they are who people think that they are, or let's say they think that they are their job or their title or their social status. But self-discovery gives you the human behind all of those labels. Who are you without those labels? So, and you asked me what are the benefits.
Yes.
So when it comes to benefits, there are many. But mainly, the first benefit would be, I would say, is you will be more self-aware of yourself. So there is this connection between you and yourself. You understand your emotions more, your feelings more, let's say your strengths and weaknesses, what actually works for you in life, what you don't like, all of these aspects. So when you're aware of that and you understand who you are, also you will have healthy relationships.
Relationship healthier in general, your overall mental and physical well-being will be better.
Exactly. And the healthier relationship here is because now that you know yourself, you can, let's say, communicate your needs clearer. You will also at the same time set clear boundaries because you know what's okay with you and what's not. You will also express your emotions clearer to others. So relationships will improve massively. The third point of benefit, I think, would be that you are, let's say, living a more meaningful life. Because now you know what you like and you don't like. Now you can create the life that is meaningful to you, that feels fulfilling to you.
That's one of the most important things. That's sometimes the essence of life. So what happens when we actually live a life without discovering who we are? And that actually happens a lot. As you said, people may base their life on what position they have, their job title, their status, as they said, in society, without really knowing who they are inside, correct?
Yes, correct. And at the beginning of, let's say, adult life, people may think that that's okay. But with time, you will discover, no, this is not working for me anymore. So people who don't discover who they are early on will probably, let's say, find themselves lost, or their life lacks meaning, or they will feel like they're living a fake life. Because their internal world, like let's say their emotions, their thoughts about themselves and about the world, it does not match what people perceive them or see them as. So that's some of the things that, let's say, are for who people will suffer from.
I think social media also gives people a wrong perception of what reality of some people are. They like to live through that.
Yes, but also a very important point here is there is a lot of people who put, let's say, so much effort and time into trying to copy other people or trying to be like someone else. But if we take that time and energy and put it into self-discovery and discovering your true essence, you would have a more comfortable life.
True, very well said.
You know, like very comfortable, a life that's unique to you. I completely believe that every person on this planet is born with a unique essence, and if you give yourself a chance to discover what it is, you will have more impact on the world and around with the people around you as well.
So Besma, now another question. So who or what can help us now discover ourselves, yourself? Because that's an important question. How can that go about?
Yes.
I know you're a specialist in this and that, so tell us more.
So first of all, something you need to know about the self-discovery journey. It is a journey. It's not something that you do once and then you stop doing. You're always discovering.
It's ongoing.
Oh, it's ongoing. Yeah, exactly. And also the self-discovery journey is something that requires you to be completely honest with yourself, and it's very unique to each and every person. So it's different. There's no one size fit all, as they say. So the aspects, let's say the key aspects of that journey would be, first of all, you will start to self-reflect. Let's self-reflect. So start with, let's say, journaling. If you start to record down your life experiences, your emotions during the day, your, let's say, things that worked for you, things that didn't work for you, that this self-reflection will give you time and space to understand yourself more. Another aspect would be identifying your values. What matters to you the most in your life? So having like a list of, let's say, the top 3 or top 5 values in life. And when it comes to values, sometimes it's a bit let's say difficult to do it, especially that if you're disconnected for so long from your values. Some people base their values on their childhood needs. So let's say if, for example, if a child was deprived of love when they were a child or neglected, I am sure that love would be on top of their value list as an adult.
Sure.
So that may be also. One last point about values is that some values do change with time and with different life experiences. So people have something that suddenly changed in their life, their values would probably change as well. Another key aspect would be, let's say, trying new things, new experiences. Find your passion, find something new. Put yourself in situations that will, let's say you're a beginner at something, you meet new people. Those situations will teach you so much about yourself.
Interesting. So tell us now, why do some people also have identity crisis?
Okay, so identity crisis basically is there when someone has a disapproval about who they are today.
And it seems like this generation now, there is more of this than before. True or not? Or
I think they're more open now to express it.
Maybe that's a good word. Yeah, it's probably been around for a long time. Yes. But now people can talk about it more.
And it's very normal. But let's say when you disapprove of who you are today, you have an identity crisis. What happens sometimes is people use their jobs or their roles, as we talked about, as anchors. That's the thing that gives them safety or security. And when that's taken away, they will have an identity crisis. So for example, if a doctor was a doctor for 30 years and then suddenly let's say he left or he retired, that was his anchor, that was his title. When he retired, he had an identity crisis. I'm not a doctor anymore, so who am I? So he starts to self-discover again in order to create a new anchor. Also, I had a client once, she was married to this rich famous guy, and then suddenly she got a divorce. That was her anchor. And she had an identity crisis because she's no longer with him, and he was that was her anchor, and she had an identity crisis. So you see how that happens. Self-discovery helps you create the anchors within you, so that if there's something in the outside world that changes, you're still stable, you still know who you are.
Thing,
yeah, and you know who you are, and you are, let's say, your identity is still the same. Because it's let's say it's not connected to anything in the outside.
Great to hear. It's such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you
very
so much.
Valuable insight and information for our audience. Do you have any last words or comments for the audience watching Hella Kuwait this evening?
Yeah, I just would like to say that self-discovery is an amazing journey. I think the earlier you do it, the better, and enjoy the journey.
Thank you, Basma,
You're
for
most
coming.
welcome.
Thank you. It was a
You're
pleasure
most
to have you.
Thank
We'd
you.
like to thank our guest, Basma Saad, a distinguished guest, a rapid transformational therapist and an expert in her field. We thank her so much for her time with us this evening, right here on Hella Kuwait, wishing her all the best of luck in her future endeavors.